Hello everyone, I am Rod and I am the game design instructor for the Academy of Entertainment Arts over at Dixie Hollins High School. If you are one of my students, it's Mr. Flowers to you, and welcome to this video tutorial.
Good evening, everyone. We are back for video number 3 in the mouth box making series. And here's our mouth box that we set up in video number 2. This is the little speed run kind of box that we did. It's all low poly, but it will work for some characters if you're just kind of in a hurry. And this one here, well, let me go ahead and put this on its own layer. There you go. I'll just name this mouth box number 2. And here's what we did for number 1. Again, this is very simple, but this is a little bit higher detail than the previous. What we're going to do this time is going to be a little bit more detailed. We're going to model every tooth. Let's jump into Photoshop here. And we're going to use this little tooth layout that we made. I'm going to hide my layer. I'm going to bring my teeth back up. I'm going to open up this. And I'm going to hide the actual teeth. I'm just going to bring up the little outline that we did earlier. So we're going to use this, and I don't need this bottom row. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer. Right-click, duplicate layer. I'm going to hide the original. On this bottom layer, I'm going to delete the bottom section. All we need for this is the top. Let's see what I'm going to do in just a second. Go ahead and grab a brush. I'm going to drop this down. I think 12 is the size of the old one. Yep. I'm going to hit D on the keyboard to bring up my original colors. And now I'm going to draw the underside of the tooth. And if you remember from our little image here, the inside of the tooth, or the bottom of the tooth, is not quite as flat as a lot of people tend to think. They're sort of angled and they have this edge on them. So the big tooth here, or this incisor, that's going to have this flat edge, but it's going to kind of curve, and you're going to have this dip in the middle. So I'm going to try to create that. So this is the edge. And it kind of comes in. And there we have that one. I do the same thing for my eye tooth. Creating the edge. That's probably a little bit too big. There we have that one. I'm going to do the canine. That canine has that point, but it does round off, and then we end up getting this inside edge. And then we have our premolar, and that has that outer edge and that other outer edge. So this is the outer one, is the inner. And they kind of curve in, and they have that central line in the center here. I could be doing this with a thinner brush stroke. I don't think I'd be too worried about it. And these two teeth here are both the same, so I'm just going to use this one inside piece. And then I have my molar. So my molar here is going to be kind of like that. Kind of curves inward, and I have this other side here. And sort of like that. Okay. Now I'm going to take this and make this into its own little image. Let's save that out. I'm just going to name this tooth shape, and I will make that a targa. I'm going to load this in on Maya. The output file here, we don't need the alpha channel, so I'm going to save this as a 32, or we're not going to use a 32-bit, we're going to use a 24-bit. Hit OK. I'm going to jump into Maya, and I'm going to load up that image on a plane. So I'll hit Create, Polygons, Plane. I'm going to do 320, and then 128. Oops, I got a much bigger number than I needed. Subdivisions width and height, I'm going to turn that down to 1. There we go. Call this tooth shape. And I'll load up my tooth shape image. Alright, now it's loaded on. I have to redo my UVs. So I'm going to go to UV. And I will do a planar from the top. There we go. And all I want to do now is rotate this 90 degrees toward the camera. So that'll be 90 in the X. So on rotation X, I'll just hit 90. And that'll work. I will bring this above my floor here. What do I do? 128. So, alright. Now I do realize this is kind of big, but that's fine. We're just going to scale everything down. I jump into my front view. Alright, so I'm going to drop in a cube. And the initial size doesn't matter. I just want to be able to model with it. So I'll go down here. I'll just make it big enough. That'll work. Subdivisions, width and height, that should be all set to 1. And then I just need to adjust the transparency so I can see. So right click, material attributes. I'll bring the transparency up. And that'll work. Okay. All I'm going to do is very quickly knock out the shape of this. So go to vertex mode. There's that bell curve for that corn cob or corn kernel kind of shape. And this can be a pretty flat edge. I'm going to add an edge loop here and across to adjust my shape. So in edge mode, I'm going to hold shift, right click, and then I'm going to go to insert edge loop. There's one, that one, and I'll do one across. There's that piece. I'll let that curve out. And then I will simply grab this, Control D, I'll duplicate, bring that over to the next tooth. And then duplicate this. Next tooth. Here's that point on the canine. It's that slightly curved shape. So now I'm going to move over to these premolars. Control D, pull that over. I'm only going to model one of these because they're both the same. There's that. And I'll move over to the main molar over here. Looks like it'll work. So now that I have my teeth basic shape, I'm going to bring these down here and model the inside of the tooth. So I'm going to select all these. I will bring them down to here. And now it's going to rotate them. So since the bottom of the tooth will be here, I'm going to turn them away from the camera. Like that. To get that precise, I'm going to go into my rotation, and that's a negative 90. So negative 90 on the X. I'm just going to line these up on their shapes here. And I'll begin shaping away. So this is the front of the tooth. Now we are clipping through the image, so if I come out here, see we're halfway through. So I'm going to unreference my reference image here, select it, I'm just going to move it away from the camera. And I will re-reference it, jump back into my view here. There we go. My grid is kind of in the way, so what I'm going to do is going to turn my grid off. So I'm going to go down to Show, all the way down to the bottom here, Grid, turn that off. Right, next tooth. It does take a little bit of getting used to seeing what pieces you need to change. It's just practice. Grab that. looks good enough there. Pull that edge in just a little bit. And do that on here as well. Next tooth. Alright, on to the next tooth. Now the canine does curve into a point, so make sure that does. Looks like it'll work. Now as it gets to the molars and the premolars, we're going to have to add an edge to create this outer and inner section. So right here, I'm going to pull these up. Grab all these. Now insert an edge loop across. So hold shift, right click. Oh, I gotta be in edge mode, sorry. Edge mode, hold shift, right click. Insert edge loop. And I'll drop it in the middle there. Go into my perspective view. And I'm going to curve this in. Kind of like that. And that should probably work out for what we need. Jump to the next two. I'm going to need that edge loop again, so I go back to edge mode. Hold shift, right click, insert edge loop. I'll put that in the middle here. I'm just following the curvature of the tooth here. Bringing the edges in. And we do have this flat section in the middle, or this intersection. You can see how I gave this a squiggly line, so I'm going to pull some of this to kind of twist that inner tooth shape. Now again, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be a rough shape of each tooth. Now comes the part of creating the inside of the mouth and the tongue. That's going to be done very similarly to the previous time. I'm going to hit Create, go down to Polygon Primitives and a cylinder. Don't forget to save your work. Alright. Now grab these things, move them back. So my cylinder is going to be radius of 25. The height I'm not going to be picky with. Subdivisions I'll keep at 20. Whoops. And then my top view, I'm going to cut off the back here. So face mode, select the back, cut that off. I go into edge mode. I will select this edge, that edge, and that one. So there's 4 back edges. Hold Shift, right click. I'll go to Bridge. And I will set my subdivisions down to 0. There we go. And I'm going to bring my transparency back up, or back down. So hold right click, go to Material Attributes. It doesn't always pop up the first time. I'm just going to do it a second time. There we go. There is a bit of a dialogue here, and you could just toggle through, but all the subdivision history can get in the way, so that's why I usually just click it twice. Okay. Let's back up top. Let's go into our scaling tool. Let's scale this in to get the shape of the mouth. And just like I did before, I'm going to delete the bottom of this. So I'm going to go here, front view. I'm going to cut this bottom section off in face mode. Jump back up top. Okay, so now I'm going to select all of my edges. I'm going to hold Shift, right click, and go into Connect Component. That'll give me this loop. I'm going to go into vertex mode. I'm going to select these. And now I'm going to scale them forward. And this will give me the positions of my teeth, kind of like I did last time. And since I don't have symmetry on, I should be able to scale this out as well. Grab these back two. I'll go into Move Tool, I'll hold X, and then Snap. And let's grab this one. And that one. Pull these down. And just like I did before, I'm going to get rid of these inner edges and then take care of making quads all the way through. So go into Edge mode, grab these. Grab my multi-cut tool and just cut an edge loop all the way across. Vertex to vertex. And all I'm doing is clicking, click, and then right click. And now I have quads all the way in. And this gives me the shape of my tongue, as well as positions for all of my teeth. All right. I'm going to turn symmetry mode back on and just do some final tweaks here. So tool settings, symmetry mode, turn that on in the X. That way I can just get these to be the shape that I want. Okay. I'll turn symmetry mode back off. All right. So now that I have this base for my mouth, I'm going to go to Modify, Center Pivot, and I'll snap this back down to the grid by holding X and then drag it. There we go. Up top here, I'm going to extrude. Give this a thickness of 1. And then I'm going to grab the positions for my teeth. And I will extrude again. Bring this up for the area for my gum line. Hit the little box here, and then I will scale this in. And that should be good. All right. Now, if you look at gums, again, they tend to come down. Here's a good one. Gums tend to come down into the middle or up into the middle of each tooth, right? And they hug around it. So for these, I'm going to grab the edges of where my gums are supposed to be. And all I want to do is I want to actually get every other edge. Every other edge. And I'm just going to pull these up to kind of get those little pockets. See that? And now I'm going to place each tooth where it needs to go. So this is going to be my incisor. Grab that. And I'll keep these as a base reference. So Control D. I'll just pull a new one off. I'll rotate this. That'll be 0. This will be 180. That should work. I'll just scale this down to where I need it to be, and I'll put it in position. Do this from the top. Now it would be easier if I could see where each tooth is going to go. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to go up to Shading, and I'll go down to Wireframe Unshaded. That way I can see the wireframe. I'm going to just move this into position. You see how my pivot point's kind of off-center? I'm just going to center it. Shrink my tooth down a little bit more. I'm just going to sink this into the gums here. My tooth does come out a little bit in the back. Oops. We're not as likely to see the tooth from the back of the mouth, but I'm just getting it into the gum line in the event that, for whatever reason, we see back here. There we are. Okay, there's one tooth in position. Let's grab the next one. Go back into object mode. I will duplicate this off. All right, I'm going to turn this back to 0. And then I'll do 180 in Z. And this is a matter of shrinking it down. I'm going to match the size of this, so my scale is 0.128. So I'll do that on this. 0.128. Top view. Let's move this into position. Just kind of getting that tooth shape in. Okay. Let's grab the next tooth in our lineup. It's going to be our canine. Duplicate that off. Change that 90-degree X to 0. And Z will be 180. And I'll drop the scale down to 0.128. I'll rotate this tooth. Hit F on the keyboard to frame up, and I can just pull this back. Alright, let's move that a little bit closer. I'll do that in the top view so it's a little bit easier to move. So I have those teeth. Next I'll move these two. So I'll grab this one, make sure I'm in object mode, Control D to duplicate, pull that off. Set that to 0, and then 180Z. Drop my size down, 0.128. Let's move this into the gums here. Go my top view. I'll move this in position. And I'll rotate this. Oops, wrong way. Probably good enough. And then I'm going to grab my final tooth, this big molar. Same thing, I'm going to zero out that X rotation. I'm going to do 180 to rotate it the way that I want it to be. And I'll scale this down, 0.128. Let's put it on the jaw. Then I will rotate it this way. And it's fine if you have to scale it a few times, it's not an issue. We just want this to fit on the Gumline. Be a little bit nitpicky. I'm just going to change the scale of these just a tad, and I'll move them closer to each other. And since I did scale these down some, I do have enough room for this molar to go in the back. I'm going to scale down my premolar a little bit more. Enlarge my real molar just a tad. Okay, so there are some teeth. I have 6 teeth as opposed to 8 in a normal mouth, but yeah, nobody's counting. All right, so there are my teeth lined up, all nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to combine these, and then I'm going to duplicate to the other side. So I'm going to go up here, grab my combine button. So now these are all one side. So now I will mirror. So go up to Mesh, go down to Mirror Geometry. And it should mirror across. If it doesn't, just make sure that you have your direction correct. So I'm mirroring in the negative X. So over here is positive X, over here is negative X. If my compass is Z forward, see there's X there. Just make sure you're in the correct one. And you can see that the teeth are somewhat off-center. Over here in Mirror Pivot, or Poly Mirror right here, the X pivot, we'll set that to 0. And there we go. So it does give us a bit of a gap in between our teeth. He's got a bit of an issue with his overbite. Can always correct that. So if I select my teeth, I go up to Mesh and I hit Separate. That'll let me modify each tooth individually. You will have to center each pivot again, so I'll go ahead and grab all these. And I'll go to Modify Center Pivot. They should all be centered. .447 minus 0.47. Oops. All right. I'm going to go ahead and remirror these. Whoops. Combine. Mirror geometry. Set that to 0. There we go. That's a little bit nicer. So I'm going to select all of this. I'm going to combine it. And then I will Control D to duplicate. And then I will just do a rotation in Z, 180. So there's my upper jaw and my lower jaw. Now the upper jaw is going to be bigger than the lower jaw, so I'm going to scale my lower jaw down just a bit. That way I can sit this jaw pretty much on top of this, and it should cross over. So that. Now the lower jaw's set of teeth for the 4 front teeth here, they are narrower and closer together. So we're going to hide this upper jaw here, and I'll go ahead and name this upper jaw. I'll go ahead and put it on its own layer. So layers, create from selected. I'll go ahead and hide it. And this one, I'll go up to Mesh. I'll hit Separate. That'll separate all the pieces. I will grab these teeth. Modify Center Pivot. I'm going to delete this half on this side. Go into my top view. And it's going to make these narrower. So go ahead and scale this in. I'll scale that one. Just move that closer. Move that closer. Now just move these all closer together. If you want to add, since we have space for that tooth, you could add another tooth. I'm not going to. I will combine these, and then I will mirror those over. Mirror geometry. Set my 0 pivot. I will combine all this. And now I will go to turn that other one back on. So there we go. We have an upper and lower jaw with teeth a bit more accurate than the other design. And if we go and we do our smooth preview, you'll have an opportunity to smooth these out, make them more precise if you need them to. Whoops. Now let's add our tongue. Go ahead and save our work. Go to the back of the mouth here. I'm going to select all the pieces I'm going to use for my tongue. Just like I did before, I'm going to hold Shift, right click, duplicate face. And go into object mode. I will just get rid of the item I don't want by shift clicking. And then I'll hit Q. Bring that up. Go ahead and extrude. Give my tongue some thickness. And now it's just a matter of setting up our UVs. Now we don't really need this upper section. We could cut these faces off up top, and we could cut these faces on the bottom as well. We don't really need them. We just need our gums, teeth, and the tongue. So I'm going to go ahead and grab UVs, UV editor, and I will do a projection from the top. So UVs, planar, and I will hit this little darkener button here so I can see. So we have those, and these are going to be their own shells. So go to UV mode, I'll just right click, UV mode, and then I'll double click, move this off. And these are all their own shells. We just need to split them. So this, we're going to split just going to do it right here. That's fine. So I just select, double click, it'll go all the way around. Polygons, I'll go down to cut UV edges. And that should allow this to unfold. There's that. And my teeth. Go into edge mode, and I'm going to just cut here. So I just grab 4 edges on the side here, do that on each tooth. And actually I'm grabbing a few more on the canine and the other one. Whoa, get that one. And on this one, I'll just grab these. Let's go on that wireframe here. It does take a little bit of getting used to, and wireframe can be a little dizzying. All right. So now that I have those edges, I will go to polygons, cut UV edges. Let's see how these will unfold. Grab my tool, smooth tool. Let's unfold that. That'll work. Let's see what happens if Maya unfolds one of these. Sometimes it does okay, other times it does weird. Okay, so it does weird. Grab my tool, smooth tool. I will unfold manually. Relax a little bit, unfold. There we go. You do have to deactivate the tool in between each unfold, unfortunately. There we go. Because sometimes it won't let you select the next cluster unless you do. See there, it won't let me select this cluster now. But now it does. It's picky. So I'll just turn it off, turn it back on. Oops, wrong button. There we go. That'll work. Folded. So unfold just unfolds. If it won't unfold anymore, just relax the hard edges a little bit and it'll unfold again. There we go. Last but not least, okay. So I have all those. And I'll go up to polygons, layout. All right, I'm going to expand this a little bit. Now I will go ahead and rescale these to match the other ones. And those look fine. I'll select everything, and I'll let Maya lay this out. I could get picky, but layout. Yeah, that'll work. Go ahead and save it from here. And like we did before, we're just going to transfer the UVs of this object to the other one. So go into shaded mode. So this is the object that I've done. I'm going to shift, select the object that I want to do. And then I'll go up to mesh, go down to transfer attributes. And I'll make sure that component is selected. I'll hit apply. And now that these are going to be done, those are done. Now remember that whenever you do a transfer attributes, you have to clear the history, otherwise you'll get it'll get buggy. And if you delete one or modify one, it'll mess up the other one. So you go up to Edit, Delete by Type, History. Select the other one, Edit, Delete by Type, History. Alright, for the tongue, I'm just going to project in the Y, so planar, project in the Y, and then I will just select the edges along this top row, polygons, cut UV edges, and then let's see how Maya does it. Unfold, that works. Just like I did before, I will select all of this, and I will just let Maya lay all this out. You know, I think I'm going to be a little bit picky on this. I will do it like this. The reason why I'm taking a little bit priority on this just has to be with the fact that I'm going to see the teeth more than we see the gums. So I want my teeth to have the most texture space. Unfortunately, that does mean I have to line all these up. But I don't have 32 of them. Just 24. All right, let me go ahead and scale this up. Okay. Now let's see if I can get all of these on here. It looks like I should be able to get all of them on without having to rescale. Okay. Now it's just a matter of painting them. So I'll go into UV mode, select everything, and I will go up to polygons, UV snapshot. I'm going to name this, where it says out UVs, I'm going to name this teeth to 2048 by 2048. I'll have my format as PNG. Again, you can use whatever format you like. I wouldn't use JPEG. Maya if is fine, PNG is fine, bitmap's okay. And then I'll hit OK. Once again, I'll save my work. And then in Photoshop, I will create a new document. I'll call this teeth texture map 2. I'll set this to 2048, 2048, resolution 300. and then I'll hit OK. I'm going to drop in a background color, so let's make this black. And then I will go get my UVs. So that's going to be in the Documents, Maya, and then Projects, Default, Images. And this is Teeth 2. Go ahead and drop that in. Hit the checkbox. I will make a new layer. I'll call this Color. And I'm just going to use the colors that I had before. So I'll go to my previous document, and I'll turn my teeth back on. I'll just sample the color here. Here's my gums. Oh, let me grab my other color. Swap that, and I'll do my teeth color. And since I laid out my UV a little bit more to my liking, it'll be quicker to paint. So I'll just go ahead and fill this in. Now I recommend taking your time coloring just because you'll get a better result than speeding through it. I'm just being quick because of video time. Now I'll swap to my next color. For example, on each tooth, you could set up cavities, you could set up, yellowing, or, let's say they haven't brushed in a while or whatever. So there we go. I'm going to turn off my UVs now, and then I will save this out. File, save as. Yep, that'll work. And I will save the Targa file. Save as. Targa. And again, this is going to be a 24-bit because we do not have an alpha channel. I will select both of these and the tongue. Rendering, drop on its own shader. I'll say teeth, color 2, add a image, and there we have it. I'll hit 6 on the keyboard, and there's our teeth. Okay. And I will set these guys on their own layer. This one is currently on this layer 2. I'm going to go ahead and name this mouth box 3. I will add this one and the tongue to it, so I'll just select those. I'll right click on that layer and go to add selected objects, so they should add to it. Okay. So let's review what we've done. So we've made 3 different mouth box styles. One using planes, so the planes look pretty accurate, but there's no detail. It's just flat using a alpha channel. Works really good for simple things. We did a speed run and just made this really basic kind of cartoony mouth. And then we spent about the last hour making a more accurate style of teeth. So whichever one you use is up to you. Granted, this one takes a little bit more work, and it still needs some work to be done. We need to smooth it out, we need to refine some of the shapes, but it looks decent enough. So whichever's up to you. In the next video, we will go over how to add this to our character and complete the insertion of this mouth box onto the model.
Alright, and I will see you guys next time.